Hi everyone, welcome back to Your Real Estate Quest, where we're helping you on your real estate journey. I'm Shaydell, your host. I have Haelee back with us today, and I'm really excited about it because today we actually get to talk about looking at houses, which from the little bit that we've talked so far, sounds like it's the only fun part of this process. So I'm really excited to get into it. We talked in episode 1 that my budget is around $350,000. What does that look like here in Colorado Springs? Again, your mileage may vary. I don't know where you live.
So good question. That 350, and I like that that's your budget, and we're talking to probably some of the first-time home buyers primarily, because in our market here, that is your starter home price. And we have a little bit of wiggle room down to around 300. Super hard to find something that's move-in ready under 300 without getting very, very small. So at that 350 range, in this market, we're looking at a starter home. Mm-hmm. And again, like you're saying to them, different neighborhoods are and different areas of the country are going to vary with what that starter home is. But that's a perfect point for you to be talking about starter homes.
Mm-hmm. So I know I was supposed to do my homework. I didn't. Sorry. And I was supposed to figure out what I want in a house before I got here. I didn't. What are some of the things that I should be thinking about? Because I know I'm probably not going to find something with 3 acres of land and a pool and 4 stories or something else extravagant. I know that I hate mowing lawns. I have since I was this big. So I don't really want 3 acres, and I know that, but where do I start?
And it's such a good question because you're totally normal. It seems super easy when I give you that list to tell me what your wants and needs are. But when you start putting it all together, it's a little more abstract than you realize. And that's what some of this process is when we go and look at these houses. Mm-hmm. And I like to set us up on sampler days first for first-time home buyers or my out-of-town buyers that don't know the neighborhoods as well, because I'd like to get you into houses that were built in 1930 and houses that were built in 1970 and houses that were built last year. Maybe you look at a couple of townhouses and you think about how you would live mm-hmm. in that. And you look at a couple single-family houses that have yards and think about, do I want exterior maintenance or not? And we just get you out there so that those questions that I assigned last time, they start to flow. Mm-hmm. And as you're in a house and you're walking through, you might be going, 800 square foot is just too small. I really don't want to compromise on that. But 2,000 square foot of a fixer-upper, because if I get larger, but I stay at this price point, I'm probably losing in condition. 2,000 square foot of a fixer-upper looks like $100,000 of money I don't have, mm-hmm. or time I don't have, or skill set I don't have. So you have those conversations to narrow down. It looks like my sweet spot is a townhouse with an HOA less than $200 a month, so I don't have to worry about exterior maintenance. 1,200 to 1,600 square foot, go.
Okay. So we talked in the last episode that if I wanted to, I could legally do this process myself.
You could.
We've already established I don't want to do that. I don't like representing myself as much as I can, she says on the internet. What does that look like? What does this part of the process look like if I was gung-ho and I'm going to do this all by myself, I don't need no man, versus working with you? What is that like?
I think trying to house shop without a buyer's agent would be super, super time consuming and difficult. Not impossible, and if you have time, great. But if you're a busy businesswoman and you're working at least your 40 hours a week, trying to come home, it's one thing to look through and go, ooh, I like this one, ooh, I like this one, send it to your agent, versus, ooh, I like this one, write it down. Ooh, I like this one, write it down, make my list, map them out, figure out what my time schedule is, And now you have to call and get access. And if you have that buyer's agent's going to work with you around your schedule. If you are doing this on your own, you now need to somehow find the listing agent, which looks like it's very easy to find. You can, like, they'll be on Zillow. You just have to watch, because when you type in ask an agent on Zillow, that goes to a preferred agent. It does not necessarily go to the listing agent.
Oh.
So you need to look at who the listing agent is, Google the listing agent, call the listing agent, schedule a time that they can meet you at the property, map out your next one, continue that process. So it'd be a lot more difficult just to get access to the houses unless you searched out open houses.
So that sounds like a lot. How many gray hairs did I give you when I sent you like 17 last week that I liked? I'm sorry.
When we do 17 houses in a day, it takes a couple hours to schedule, yes. That's one of those behind the scenes things.
But I mean, do you then have to write them all down and look them up on Zillow and do all of...
So I start with your list. You send it over. So I have it on my phone or my email. I start with the list. I plug it into Google Maps, wiggle them around so that I'm traveling in a logical route. And then I can go back to our MLS. And it's multiple listing services. So everybody that has a listing in an area, you belong to an MLS. It's part of being a realtor in that area. And then we all share those listings out with the public. That's where Zillow, Realtor.com, Homes.com, that's where they pull all their information too. So the MLS is regulated, so the information tends to be a little more up to date and a little more accurate. The outside sites pull from that. But I can go in there then. Now I know I've got this route of 17 houses that we're going to do. I know you. I know that we've got houses that are around 12 to 1,500 square foot, so we can get through those in 15 to 20 minutes. And I can kind of judge how we're going to travel through time. I can go onto the MLS then, literally click on a button, plug in, I need 1 to 130 for this house, 115 to 145 for this house. Schedule all of those to the MLS. I get confirmations on my phone where I can say, meet me at 123 Elm Street.
Okay, so it does seem like it's a little bit easier for you through the MLS than it would be if I was just scrolling through Zillow.
It is, because I have it all at my fingertips to be able to schedule through that showing service. And then additionally, because I'm licensed and insured, which is the key thing, I can get access. You have to contact that listing agent. They have to meet you so that you have somebody licensed and insured to protect that home. We can't just give random people codes to people's houses.
I hadn't thought of that, but yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, if you think about it from the seller's side,
Yeah.
you don't want people just going through your house without somebody being responsible for them.
So what is your insurance? What does...
We carry what's called E&O insurance. That's errors and omissions.
Okay.
And it does not cover us for negligence at all. It covers us if a mistake is made, an error is made.
Okay.
Yeah, we miss something on a contract.
So I don't know that we're actually going to get into this episode actually in properties. We'll probably just do some shorts or something at that point.
Okay.
But can we talk a little bit about what are things to look for when you're in the house? We did talk a little bit about how the space feels, but what are some other things that maybe we haven't thought of?
Okay, those are things that do come up as you're going through it with your realtor too, and you're having conversations. And I'm going to keep this focused to the first-time home buyers and newer home buyers versus an investor is going to be looking for different things, or somebody looking for an Airbnb property looking for different things. But you as a first-time home buyer, first of all, yes, you want to feel the space. You want to make sure that you feel comfortable in it, that it's not so small of a space that you're feeling tight and cramped, that you have the space you need. If you need a home office, that could be a bedroom, it could be a corner of the family room, but do you have the space for that? And then the condition, like that'll be another thing that I think it's useful to have an experienced agent help you with, because honestly, if you go into the mechanical room, do you know the water heater from the furnace?
Water heaters usually kind of circly.
They're circly.
Then yes.
The furnace is more square. But what if you hit a boiler system? Would you know what that means? Because these are on a boiler system. And it does mean things. Like what it means to you is there's no central AC. Is that important?
Okay.
Because if it's important, we also don't have ductwork in this house. So we go to mini splits, and it's just a different system. And then not only knowing what they are, but how old they are. Do you know do you know the lifespan of it? If it is old, do you know how much that's going to cost? Are you prepared for $8,000 to replace your furnace in the first year of homeownership? And so those are other questions that you'll look at, because I've had a lot of people that swear they want to do a fixer-upper, and we map it out, and that's not going to work. And then I have other people that I've misjudged, and I thought, oh, this is way too much for these little guys. And they just rocked it. They had family members that are skilled in different trades. They have the sweat equity, they had the motivation, and I come back and they've got all the cabinets down and the new ones are getting ready to be installed, and they remodeled this house, and they took a one that had lower condition so that they could get the more size. And what I would have to pay tens of thousands of dollars to a contractor, they did with a family that knew how to do the different trades. So, but those are conversations that come up, and that you want to be honest with yourself about. What can I do? What can I not do? What can I afford? What can I not afford? Because you don't want to be miserable.
True. I know this is a little difficult where we're not actually out in a property looking, but is there anything that maybe seems like it's a really big deal on the surface, but is actually not such a big deal, or vice versa, something that seems like it's a pretty minor thing that could actually be a larger? Or is that more a question for something like the inspection time point, which we won't talk about until we get into contract negotiations?
No, I think I think I can answer that one pretty quickly. You can go into a house that has nice bones, and if you like the flow of that house, and the main thing that looks wrong to it is the carpet is trashed, maybe you've got some hardwood floors, they're trashed, they're scratched up, the walls are disgusting. You walk in and the whole thing just feels gross. For a lack of a better word, it's just gross. But really, even if you hire that done, new carpet, put some new vinyl plank down, paint those walls, it looks overwhelming because it's everywhere when you're looking around a house. But those are reasonably affordable, and they're also things a lot of people can do themselves. There are a lot of things that you can do Home Depot for a pretty affordable price afterwards. And so I would put that on. Be willing to look at, could I put some Saturdays into painting this and freshening it up?
Okay.
The flip side is those bigger things that we were talking about. A house could be newly flipped, looks pretty shiny and pretty, new tile everywhere and the new cabinets, but you go down and you find out that you still have an old roof and you have an old furnace and you have no AC. I mean, you can have $30,000 putting in those things. And so the house looks shiny and pretty, but you still have a lot of money to spend. So knowing where the bones are and knowing what's lipstick is, I think, probably the easiest way to think about where could I put money into this house.
Okay, that really makes this feel a little less overwhelming. And we're about out of time because I do actually want to go look at houses. So,
okay.
We're gonna
Not 17. Not today.
Fine. We'll reschedule. But let's pull a little bit of HG magic here. Let's pretend we found the house.
We found the house.
We found the house. It's great. It's perfect. It's everything I ever wanted, and it's only $2. probably not.
It's been on the market for 65 days. We're planning to put in an offer 30,000 under.
All right, I like it.
And then I'll call you an hour later and say, oh, they just got another offer.
Darn. Okay, but then the next one.
Okay.
So we've made the decision.
Okay.
What do we do now? Like, we found the house, I want this one, now what?
Okay. And I'm going with the premise that we have looked at 17 houses.
Yes.
You know this confidently. You love this one.
Yep.
It fits all the needs with the compromises that you're making because it's a starter home and we have a pre-qual letter ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then I go home and I write the contract. And then I'll call you later. We will go over all 23 pages of the contract so that you understand
Which we're gonna
what
talk
you're
about
doing.
more.
Yep. And I'll do some, what I say, run comps for you. So I'll look at the neighborhood, send you over some other information so that you can be confident that, yes, this is a good price. And that we know we're going to get an appraisal. And then we send that offer out and usually wait for about 24 hours to see if they either sign it and accept or give us a counter offer and we decide if we want to move forward with that or not.
Okay, that's exciting. Except for the part where it's mostly movie magic right now, but that's okay.
So doable, very doable.
In our next episode or so, we're actually going to shift gears a little bit. We're going to bring Kevin back in. We're going to talk more about the money. I wanted to do this one first because houses is more fun, but now we'll talk about actually paying my bills. And then we'll come back to contract.
Okay.
Thank you again for coming back and talking with us.
Thanks for having me.
We
I
appreciate you. Again, we'll put contact information here and we'll see you all next time.
Thank you.